No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world.
Welcome to the Kindness Chronicles, where once again we hope to inject the world with a dose of the Minnesota kindness that it desperately needs. Boy, do we need some kindness in the state of Minnesota.
Oh, boy.
Seems like you always start our shows that way.
Well,
lately.
yeah.
But it seems like we're in the center. The center of
This
chaos.
is different. Yeah, this is different.
This is very different. And we don't usually go down this road, but before we get to our guests, who we're very excited about, let's talk about some nice stuff. How was your weekend? I like to tell people when they ask me what I've been doing, I say that I've been out battling ice in my driveway because,
that's just a bad dad joke right there.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy stuff going on right now, and it's continuing, it's still going on, and it's a very scary, very fraught, troubling time in Minnesota. And
specifically as it relates to the shooting, I think my son Jack, who I believe to have a level head, he said it is a classic Rorschach test. People are going to see what they want to see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no convincing anybody otherwise. And to me, once again, it just blows my mind how many people decide that they want to start a battle with their friends on Facebook.
Everyone wants to have a take. Everyone wants to say they want.
I don't want one.
Yeah.
I have no interest in getting into that stuff.
Yeah, I just want it all to end, and I want things to be boring.
And,
and kind. I want people to be kind.
Let's be kind. Exactly.
Yeah.
So KG's not with us. He's on assignment. He's traveling with the wild. I think that he just got back into town after the longest road trip that they've ever had. And I think he promised his gal that he would take her out for dinner tonight. So I said,
He deserves
why
a
don't
little
you
break.
go ahead and do that? Exactly.
But we look forward to hearing from him. It's been a long time. I think we have to have him sitting here talking with us again. He's one of our flagship guys. He's one of those guys.
He's one of the originals.
He's our minor celebrity.
If we put a minor local celebrity, if we put a meal in front of him, I bet you we could get him.
I think we
to
should
show
have
up.
a meal. That'd be great.
Remember,
Yeah.
he said we're breaking bread the last time he was here, so that's a big deal for
That's a
him.
long time ago.
So who's that back there?
Jeff Hoffman's here. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, John.
Our
Hi,
senior
Steve.
engineer.
Producer. He's a producer.
He's a producer. He's been promoted from 55-year-old intern to senior producer. Steve Brown, welcome.
John Schweitz,
Thank
welcome
you. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
And we have a guest with us.
Yes.
Tell us about our guest. You're very excited about our guest.
I am. So I follow this person on LinkedIn. Turns out she knows a lot of people that I know. And boy, she's just spreading sunshine and the message of kindness that relates really very much to what our show's about. She's been on all these news programs. She's always on podcasts. She's incredibly eloquent, very smart, and a major, she's a marketer. Obviously, that's how I know who she is. But her name is Heather Boschke. And she is someone who blends sharp strategy with a tender heart, whether she's helping brands clarify their message, teaching students to think with clarity and compassion, or illustrating birds that spark joy and connection. She's an artist as well.
Yeah.
Heather's journey shows us that success isn't just an achievement, it's connection, presence, and choosing the work that feeds you and feeding others. So, Heather Boschke, welcome to the Kindness Chronicles. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
I always get concerned when Steve says that he's creeping on somebody on LinkedIn. You don't usually describe it like that, but
Not creeping.
you do spend a lot of time on LinkedIn.
I do.
You
It is kind of part of my job.
I know.
I'm continually marketing and doing things that way. I'm trying to learn how to really get part of the conversation going and try to push it towards my company.
So, Heather, tell us a little bit about, are you from Minnesota? Tell us about where you grew up, how you made your way to Minnesota then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a proud Packer from Wisconsin.
That's fantastic.
And I know. It's okay. I feel like, it was a tough loss against the Bears recently, but I would rather lose to the Bears than the Vikings. Is that bad?
No. I think that that's very fair. And I was quite impressed, though. Did you see Caleb Williams, the quarterback for the Bears, had on a a cheese grater.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so good.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's pretty clever.
That's pretty
I
clever.
mean, you gotta love the rival. I mean, it's all in good fun. It's football, right? I mean, it's not that serious, but it's a fun rivalry. But I've been here for I think 25 years now, so it feels very much like home, and I love Minnesota. But I'm from Wisconsin, a small town near Milwaukee called Pewaukee.
Oh yeah.
And I went to Pewaukee. There's like 5 exits on the way to Chicago. And I went to school at the University of Wisconsin, studied marketing.
Madison?
And actually, what was that?
Did you go to Madison?
I did go to Madison.
I
am
have a daughter
Badger.
at Madison, UW Madison.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, she's very smart. I don't even think I could get in anymore. It's like very competitive.
She's much smarter than her brothers. There's no question about that. She's
Is she the oldest?
She's the youngest.
She's the
and
baby.
she is the baby, and she sent us her 5th picture of carbonara in Italy in the
she's
last
in Italy.
8 days.
Amazing.
And her brother Jack is referring to her as round rye. Because if you're going to keep pounding that kind of
she's
pasta,
walking like crazy.
she is
I'm
walking
sure.
45 minutes.
Because Europeans walk and Americans don't.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yes,
Well, she's doing it right. If she's in Italy, she's doing the college experience right.
and if you could see me, I'm giving you the W right there.
There you go.
Yes, on Wisconsin.
So you're a marketing
And
major.
so- marketing major, and actually the reason I teach is because of my experience at Madison. So when I went, like any 17-year-old, I had no idea what I wanted to do or be. And I remember my mom telling me that a nurse practitioner was like a good, stable career. And so I was kind of on that track. And then I had this marketing class with Professor Henry Boyd, and I learned about the 4 Ps and this light that I didn't even know I had like turned on, and I've never looked back. Like I fell in love with marketing, and the reason I teach is to create those light bulb moments and to pass forward the gift that I got when I was in my undergrad. So I loved marketing. I had an internship with Miller Brewing Company. They're based out of Milwaukee. I knew that job would move me, and it ended up moving me to Minneapolis.
No
and
kidding.
I've never left.
So this is a story. I just want to show our commonality here. Our listeners have
You're a
heard this
marketing
story.
person, yeah.
But I also started out, I went to the University of St. Thomas. At the time, it was called St. Thomas College. And I started out as a biology major with the idea that I was going to become a physician. That was my objective. And I took my first biology exam, and our listeners have heard this story, but you
Many
need to
times.
hear it as well. Many times. I got a 6 out of 100, and I went to the professor. See the look on her face? That's how my mom felt when
This
I told
is
her.
college. This is college.
This
yeah.
is college, and the professor says, "Why are you a biology major?" I said, "I thought it would impress girls." He said, "You sound like a marketing major." So, honest to God, that afternoon, I went down and changed my major to marketing, and look at how great I turned out.
Yeah, look at you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I still got
I
the girl.
love that. You know
Yes.
what? That path from medicine to marketing, it's very
Ooh,
linear.
there's his book.
That's the next book.
That's his book. Heather, so you mentioned this. You're an adjunct professor of marketing at
Where do you teach? Oh,
Metropolitan
Metropolitan
State
Okay.
University.
Yeah. Yep.
Also, she is an author and an artist as well. We want to hear about that and your company's Vogel Venture. So I want to hear how all these things tie together. What an interesting combination you have. Like, give us a little bit of the path of how you got to each of those things, and we'll go a little deeper on a couple of them.
Okay. Well, like everything, nothing that I'm doing now is planned. I never wanted to own my own business. I spent 22 years in corporate. I just wanted to make it to the C-suite, and life had other plans. Like I kept getting tossed off the wheel. I was fired twice. I've been let go a bunch of times. And you know how life just keeps giving you the same lesson until you learn it? I just kept getting back on that wheel. And in 2021, I got fired for hopefully the last time. And what happened was, like, the best way I can describe it is like invitations from the universe, where I would have conversations with people because I was applying for jobs and networking. And I think there were 4 or 5 conversations that ended with the question, can we just pay you to help us with our marketing? Or could you just help us for 6 months?
Consulting situation.
And all of a sudden I had demand, and I thought, okay, I didn't really plan on doing this, but people are willing to pay me. So why not try this? And in 6 months, when I don't have clients, I will just go get a job. And that was 4 years ago.
That's cool.
Very cool. You wrote a book. Tell us about the book.
Yes, I've written 5 books.
Well, I would love to hear the origin story about birds and how it led up to it, because I think the books are mainly around birds, right? And I'm looking at a picture right now of you
Birdie buddies.
holding your little bird when
Yeah.
you were a little
Okay.
girl. And is it okay if I share that with our viewers on
Oh,
our YouTube?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So, right around that same time, 2021, and this is, post-COVID lockdown, we all kind of had time to sit and be quiet and really figure out if the life we were living is the life we really wanted to live, and are we spending our time the way we want to? And what happened was, when I left corporate, what I realized was I was spending a lot of my energy doing things like navigating toxic political environments and relationships that maybe weren't serving me. And when I got out from under that, I had so much more energy. Like, when what you are doing feeds your energy, it creates space for more. And I had all this energy. And during COVID lockdown, I could very clearly hear this voice in my heart telling me to draw again. And drawing is something I loved to do when I was a kid. It's how I played, it's how I lost myself. And right around after middle school, I stopped doing it because around that time, high school and sports and friends, and then college. And then I really spent my time in corporate, like working and giving myself away to my jobs.
Yeah.
And so drawing just fell away. And my grandpa used to call me Heather Feather, and birds are my favorite animal. That was our first family pet, was a little cockatiel bird named Birdie. And so when I
Clever.
bought a sketchbook and pens, the first thing I thought to draw was a little bird. And I just remember, like, I went back, I felt like I was a kid again, like the feeling of drawing and creating, and nobody was telling me what colors and how to do it. And I felt empowered, and I felt free, and I lost track of time. And I remember just looking at this little chubby bird and thinking, I'm going to draw birds. And so I started drawing these birds. I would always name the bird. That's a big part of this. So that's Clarence the cardinal behind me.
Cute.
And without realizing it, I was creating these little characters. And as I started to learn more about birds, that's when it hit me. Like, I think there's a children's book in here to educate kids about birds and get them inspired to get away from screens and go out in nature and find these little buddies.
If only you had some energy and enthusiasm,
Yeah.
that would really
Yeah.
help you in your career.
Yeah. I hope you found your energy somehow, Heather.
No, I know. I'm telling you, when
awesome.
it's like magic. It just keeps multiplying.
The great thing about birds too is it's multi-generational. It's like all ages can
That's right.
enjoy them. My dad has taught us to appreciate birds ever since I was a little kid, and we've got a bird feeder now, and they still enjoy them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what is
Yeah,
the point of the books? Do the books are they just pictures of birds, or are they sending a message of some sort?
Let me show you. Okay,
Let's
so
do it.
Little Birds of Minnesota, Birdie Buddies of Minnesota. This is my first
Oh,
one.
how cute!
And so it's
And you illustrated
Yeah.
it?
She's amazing.
yeah, look
Oh,
at all my
wow.
little birds. Yes.
She's got Instagram
so-
videos of her drawing these out in fast motions or time lapse, so you can
Yeah.
see her artistry. It's
Fun.
Yeah. She's amazing, John. Come on.
Yeah. And so this is, and it's highly educational. So every spread, there is information about the bird. So Lucy is a loon. We talk about loons. They live on water. And then every bird has a little sentence about their personality. So Lucy says, I'm shy and thoughtful, and the water is my favorite place to be. And I encourage kids to figure out which bird is most like them.
Oh my
And so
God.
it's educational. It's also a little introspective. It was super cute. So over Christmas, I had this woman, Grandma Judy. She reached out to me and she said, I want to get 5 of your books for my grandkids. They're my adult grandkids. They're all in their 20s. And over Christmas, I want us to read the book together.
Oh my!
And then we're all going to decide which bird we are. And she sent me the cutest picture of all of 5 of them with her. And it was just the sweetest moment. So I say it's for kids of all ages.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that Disney options your book for some sort of a.
Yeah.
Well, there's 5 of them, isn't there? Did I hear you say there's 5 books?
Yeah, so we've got Little Birdie Buddies of Minnesota, Little Birdie Buddies of Wisconsin, because I have to represent, Little Birdie Babies, which is all about the egg and the nest, and then Butts Up Birdies, which is a favorite among the boys, because, it's all about dabbling ducks who, when they stick their little heads under the water, what sticks up in the air? Their butts. And then this last book that I did is called Little Birdie Buddies of Love. This was a very unexpected book. It's an adult gift book, and it's all about the messages birds bring us from people who have passed.
I am not kidding you. Once again, I'm going to bring up the fact that my dad died. Like, I'm the first guy that ever had a dad die.
This summer. Yep.
My wife, I think, has that book upstairs.
I think she might.
Is that possible?
It's possible, yeah. It's absolutely possible.
So, I mean, the birds are, I mean, it's a thing. There's no question that it's a thing. You know, my sister...
The symbolism of birds.
The symbolism of
Yes.
birds. And, you know, my sister, the first time she went to go visit Dad at the cemetery, she said that there were 2 eagles that just appeared. I mean, you don't see eagles flying in North St. Paul that often.
No.
But, like, at the moment... And she looked up at it and just, you know, was like overwhelmed with, you know, this joy that came from it.
Yeah.
But I am almost convinced that we have somebody gifted her that book. Do you know, do they sell them at Good Things? Like at a gift
I
shop?
don't think they saw it, but I'm in like Kowalski's and the Arboretum.
That's where it came
and the
from.
zoo.
Yeah.
It came from a Kowalski's. I am not kidding you. I'm going to
That's
run
awesome.
upstairs and get the book.
Yeah.
That's my book.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I've heard
Yeah.
you talk about this a little bit. Tell us your story about how it does relate to your friend and the meaningfulness of cardinals and. your book.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always believed that. I mean, at my wedding shower in 2014, I had 1 living grandparent and 3 that had gone. And at my wedding shower, we were outside in my parents' backyard, and there were these 3 cardinals just like dancing in the trees. And like, we all kind of stopped and got a little choked up because I knew it was my 3 grandparents that couldn't be there. And so I've always believed that. And then of course, with the birds and the books and the art, people tell me their stories about what the bluebird means and what the woodpecker means and the eagle, like you said. And so this has always been in the back of my mind. And I had a friend named Angie, and she was our next door neighbor, and adore her and her kids. And she was 49 years old when she passed of cancer after battling it for 9 years. So young. And my husband, who never travels for work, he happened to be out of town during her wake, which is key to the story, because if he was home, it would have been a different evening. So I come home, I'm by myself, I'm in my feelings, and I sit at my computer, and this book, I could visualize it. I could see exactly what it needed to be and what I wanted to say. And it's like within hours, I just wrote it, and it's like divine intervention. Something came through me. And that's why I don't even feel like I can take credit for this book. But I was so clear on what it needed to be. And that is how the book is out. Yeah.
Wow. How fun. I guess that getting out of the corporate world opened you up to a whole new life and just so much meaning. It's fantastic.
Bashing corporate, it's got to play. And I'm so grateful for my experience, because it was my training ground. I had a best in class training from some really amazing companies. But what I didn't realize is that I was constantly contorting myself into a pretzel to be what other people wanted me to be, and less this and more that. And somewhere along the way, I lost myself. And so that's why this returning to art and drawing, something that was inherently something I loved as a kid, has felt like such a homecoming. And the last few years, I finally feel like I am coming home to exactly who I am. And if we want to tie that back to kindness, like, I think that is part of what kindness is creating space so that people can be fully alive in who they are.
So, okay, yeah, I'm glad you made that moment. So not only is it's great to hear from you and hear what a cool story, how you've created, how to find yourself and how to express yourself and share that and market that, because you're an amazing marketer. You've obviously got it out there and you're spreading cool stuff. We are the Kindness Chronicles. Our job is to find people that are out there in the world, not just Minnesota, but wherever we can find people.
Even Wisconsin.
Even Wisconsin, we'll let people in that are giving expressions of kindness and compassion around the world, as we clearly need right now, especially in the state. And I mentioned to John that I think your story really ties into kindness to yourself, and sort of I think that's where your story kind of comes from. And you mentioned you talk about self-trust, right? So help us understand how this creativity and the stuff that you're putting out there, how it's feeding you, and how we can share that with our listeners about being kind to themselves and how to find themselves, and then it grows from there. If you've got that within yourself, boom, it just sort of spreads that oxytocin around the world.
Yeah, and part of the little birdie buddies, the tagline is spreading joy one bird at a time. And that's exactly what the goal is I just want to put more joy into the world. And when you mentioned kindness as a form of self-trust, I do think that self-trust and trusting yourself and your knowing is the most profound form of kindness because it honors what is inside you. And that is always true, especially in a world that constantly teaches us to doubt ourselves or to be more this and less that. And when you trust yourself, you stop outsourcing things like validation and worth and permission. And instead of asking, am I doing this right? Which is, I feel like how I operated for a really long time, you start asking, is this true for me? And that shift changes everything. And you start to make decisions from a place of alignment rather than fear or approval, which creates clarity and calm, not just for you, but for everyone around you. And so this idea of operating from a place of alignment ensures that all the right people, places, and opportunities get put into your orbit.
Love it. She's full of it, John. She's full of joy.
And you know, I've seen some. You've got some. There's some videos on YouTube of you and some of the speaking that you do. Obviously, you're a very energetic person, and you just ooze that joy.
Yeah,
that was when Steve called me. He goes, "We got some joy going on here." Tell us about your speaking that you do.
Yeah. A lot of my speaking, so one kind of lane is the marketing. So I have one called Supercharge Your Brand, which is all about how do we connect our brand to other people and make true connections, which is so important. I mean, trust is the most important currency that any business can have, any person can have, really. And so that's one lane. And then the other thing that I talk a lot about is this keynote that I give called Dare to Soar. And that really is my journey of going back to drawing, listening to something that was in my heart that I had kind of denied for a long time. And it's kind of the lessons that I went through and I'm still going through to get people to think about, you know, this bird journey, I did not plan it. And I think a lot of us plan our lives and we have goals and we want to smash those goals. Yeah. And that's great. But, you know, we have to sometimes let go of the life that we plan so that we can make space and room for the life that's meant for us, because the life that we could live is so much better than we could ever plan. And so there's a little bit of letting go of that, especially if you're a type A achiever and you like to have goals and things like that. And how do you listen to your inner voice? And how do you kind of trust the flow of life and not force things? I think there's a bit of like the corporate unfolding that has happened. And I just want to share that with people because they can find it whether they're in corporate or not. Yeah. It's just a returning to, because we're all that little kid that we were when we loved to draw or run or dance or play music. And so it's a little bit of how do you honor that little kid that's still inside you because he or she wants to play.
Heather, you've just given me a big aha about why we do this podcast. In fact, it's very funny. You know, you love to draw. Steve and I and Jeff, you know, we love to, me probably more than anybody, love to hear the sound of our own voice. But, you know, this was something that we just kind of did for fun once upon a time. And I forgot to mention our stats for the year. Yeah. So we got Buzzsprout is the platform that we post our podcasts on, and they do a year in review. And our podcast was downloaded in 46 countries last year, which just is mind-boggling to me. 46 countries. 46 countries. And
I could see like 3.
Honestly, maybe 2. Canada, you know, and 689 cities. I mean, it's just and so somebody's listening to this thing, and it gives us joy to
Somebody's
get together.
Searching for content on kindness.
Yes. That's exactly what it is. People are looking for kindness out there, which has a lot to do with it. And again, I think that you know, go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I was just, I've been thinking about questions to ask and just looking at your marketing journey and your expertise around campaign development, strategic marketing, brand messaging. And I've got to believe that a lot of those skills of helping maybe a smaller business try to find their voice and who they are very similar to some of the skills that you bring to people that maybe have ignored their inner voice or ignoring their why. So I don't know if you can comment on that, but I just was curious from a marketing professional standpoint.
I don't know if I ever put that together, but I think you're very right. And I think that because I've worked for bigger brands like Miller Brewing Company and Radisson and Verizon, I now feel like I had a master class in best practices. And I want to now take that and give that to small businesses who don't know where to start. They can't afford someone like me full time. And so there's this, and a lot of it is just reflecting back what they tell me. And so the trick with marketing is that it's hard, but it's not. I mean, I just reflect back what people tell me and I say it in a way that lands the plane in a simple way. And I think a lot of times with marketing, you can over message things and get caught up in acronyms and words that don't actually matter. And so what's really fun for me is to hear what someone does and then explain it back to them and they go, that's exactly right. That's it. And like this, again, it's those light bulb moments where people get excited about their messaging because being able to explain to someone very clearly and simply what you do, that is 90% of it right there.
Yeah, I think you're also you can really hone in on authenticity. You're listening for authenticity, and then you're just reflecting that back to them. Like, this is what I heard. This is the most authentic version of who you are. You can't go wrong if you start with authenticity.
Yeah,
right.
I think you're right. And I think that along with trust, people are just really craving. Don't tell me what I want to hear. And I think as humans too, we're sick of being these perfect versions of ourselves online that talk about all of the right and wrong. Like, I think if our insides can match our outsides a little bit more, I think we'd be happier people. And then we would also be able to just find the right communities. Because I think there's a lot of people that are living versions of themselves that maybe aren't true. And it does kind of all go back to marketing and what lights you up, because all of that is just simply, who are you and how do you present yourself to the world?
We're involved in this program called the Civility Project, and it's a program that we put on for young people. And the point of the whole deal is we all have a personal brand, and we have an opportunity. The only person that can really your personal brand is really at the intersection of how other people see you and how you see yourself. And you have a lot of control over that. And that's why, kindness, we believe, is probably one of the most important pieces of developing that personal brand.
And not just niceness, kindness.
Kindness. Did
True.
I say niceness?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just clarifying.
We love talking about the difference between being nice and being kind. It's I think it's very fun.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyways, the point of this whole thing is, people that are looking to advance themselves personally, professionally, in the relationships that they have, focus on developing your brand, and you have some control over that. Tell me the role that marketing, what you're describing, because you're talking about things that sound a lot like strategic planning, like the role that marketing plays in strategic planning, or the role that strategic planning plays in marketing.
Yeah. I mean, it is all connected, because you cannot have a strategic plan without marketing. And you can certainly have marketing without a strategic plan. And that ends up looking like a bunch of tactics thrown at the wall without any real direction. And so when I work with businesses, the first question is, what are your goals? What are we looking to achieve? And if you can't answer that, we got to go there first, because there's a very big difference between we're launching a new product and we're new to this market and we have to introduce ourselves. So we're looking for awareness. So it always starts with, what are you looking to achieve? And we got to drill it down to one thing. When someone tells me like 17 things they want to do, it's like, well, what's the most important? Because we can't be all things to all people at the same time. So we have to pick and choose. And when you've got that strategy down, then you've got, whatever ammo you're going to put in that marketing gun, it's going to make sense to hit the target, because you know what your strategy is and you know what your goal is. So to me, that is the first step. And if someone doesn't have a strategy and a goal, that's where we have to start.
You're obviously you're a generator of energy and you've really boiled down who you are, and you're taking such advantage of the time you had during pandemic and all your experiences, and you're full steam ahead with who you are and how you can help people and how you can spread your talents and your abilities. So what I want to ask you is, when it comes to kindness, what is your source of kindness? What is growing up? Were you close with your parents? Do you have siblings? Where did you see kindness in your life to kind of see this for yourself and how to spread it around like you're doing?
Yeah, I think, yes, my parents and my brother, close family growing up, everyone, typical family spats, but we get, like, I love them dearly. Right. And so in that family growing up, my parents always created a space where we could be ourselves. Like, home was always a safe space where I could be. I mean, I've been told I talk too much. I've been told I'm too loud sometimes. I'm too much. And in my home, I never felt that way. And so there was this safety of just who you are being okay. So I credit my parents with creating that environment very much.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, growing up, being so confident in your voice, that doesn't always go well in school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would get teased, and I had glasses and braces, and I was tall and thin and beanpole. And so I got teased a lot. And so my kindness also comes from being on the other end of that and
Mm-hmm.
never wanting other people to feel not included, because I know what that feels like, and it's not good.
Yeah.
And so I think, the early seeds of confidence paired with, ooh, when someone doesn't like what you have to offer, it can really hurt. And I don't want to make other people feel that way.
Did you prepare her for that question?
No, I didn't. We didn't talk about that question. But I always want to know that when we talk to people like her, I want to hear where it comes from. We often ask that, like, what's your source and where are you getting kindness from, and where did you witness it?
She's very much aligned with her core values.
No kidding.
And the creativity really, I think, what I heard gives you energy. And I heard you say on an interview, if you don't have your cup filled, you can't help pour it out to others. Stephen Covey would always talk about, deposits in someone's emotional bank account or withdrawals.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I believe that, which really leads to, I've got very strong boundaries. And I love my friends, but they know me enough to know that if there's something going on at 8:00 on a Wednesday, I will not be there. Like, I am home. I will do stuff during the day. I don't love doing stuff during the evenings because that's my time. And I love spending time with my husband and my dog and my house. I'm a homebody. And so having boundaries to know clearly, I mean, to me, purpose is simply knowing why you're doing what you're doing. And I think I'm very clear on that. And that's because there was a time I wasn't clear on that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we do is because we messed it up 17 times before. And so I had to go to all the events to realize I don't want to be at all of the events. And so when you start to get clear about why you're showing up in certain rooms or with certain people, then yes and no becomes very easy. And when you talk about kindness, kindness is clear. It's clearly saying, no, guys, I'm not going to be there, instead of saying, yeah, I think I'm going to try to make it. And then last minute tell someone no. Like, right away, I just say, nope, I'm not going to be there. You have so much fun. Yeah,
we talk about that. And kindness, I've seen lots of things that really distill it down to, kindness is saying no. Kindness is being strong. It's not about being a pushover. It's not about just being nice to get along. It's you're actually purposeful about when you interact with people. That's such a great example.
Right. And with boundaries, it's as much as keeping out the bad as it is protecting the good and the sacred. And I think sometimes, and I did this with my job for so long, just gave myself away. Nights, weekends, would be late to things because I made work the priority. And then when you start to think about what kind of life you want to live and who's truly important to you, then, and you've said it before with values, like my values are peace, freedom, and joy. And so if what I am going to do is not going to activate one of those values, I have got to second guess what I'm doing. And so when you know your values in and out, those become your decision-making filters, which makes life so much easier.
Heather Boschke. Well, okay, here, another one, Heather.
Well, we got to move some product. Where could we find your books?
Well, yes, we want to ask about that, and I want to know about what's in the future for you. So tell us about where people can find your whole series of books, because they're really beautiful and meaningful.
Thank you. Let's see. I'm in most of the Kowalskis around town, at the Arboretum. Wild Birds Unlimited is another one. All Seasons Bird Store, the Minnesota Zoo. I'm in the Bee's Knees in Hudson. I Like You in St. Paul. So I'm in about 50 shops across Minnesota and Wisconsin.
All those really cool boutique places you go that are really have really cute, cool things.
And where you might find a bird.
But yeah, birdies. Okay, so where does it go from here? As a marketer, my brain goes, well, what's going to happen is she's going to put out stuffed animals, and then there's going to be an animation, and there's going to be a Disney, Pixar.
Pixar's
where does it go?
pick it up.
I've got stuffed animals.
There we go.
This is Clarence.
I knew it. That's great. You need that. Okay, you're way ahead. Obviously,
Yeah.
she's way ahead of it.
Yeah, she doesn't have the angry birds. She's got the lovely birds.
Sweet birds.
Sweet birds.
For trademark purposes, that is very much not an angry bird.
Okay, very
So
good.
where are you going to try it? What are some of your future endeavors? What are you looking to continue your message and your vision?
Yeah, I mean, I really love speaking and inspiring people because it's just another form of teaching, and I love teaching it's soul food. Creating those sparks for people, I love that. It lights me up when I see that fire in someone else. And so I hope to do more of that. I love my marketing, and I'm not looking to build an empire or have direct reports.
Mm-hmm.
I want enough. Like, I'm very focused on, I want enough. I want enough money. I want enough clients.
I love that.
I don't want more than my fair share. I
Yeah.
simply want enough, because when you focus on enough, you get to have all the other good things. Like, one thing about me, I like to take a nap every single day.
Me too.
And
Yay for naps.
You guys
we're
are aligned.
soulmates.
You talked a lot about just kind of what feeds you and the creativity and the birds and things. But
Yeah.
I think self-trust is ignored by others, or maybe there's an inner voice inside them where they ignore that inner voice. When you're out there speaking, what's your call to action for people like that?
Yeah, I mean, my call to action is a couple of things, but one of the biggest ones is, what did you love as a kid that you don't do anymore? Because that gets people thinking about, because that doesn't leave us. You don't, just because you get older doesn't mean you don't like hockey anymore, or you don't like playing piano anymore. So that, even that question of like being a kid and what was it like, and maybe making some space for those things. So that's always a strong call to action. And I think that as far as the voice that we ignore when we're younger, we can so clearly hear our hearts, because the world hasn't gotten to us yet. Society hasn't gotten to us to tell us who to be and how to be. And as we get older, those things come into play. We're aware of how other people treat us, and we get called names. And so we start to shrink, and we start to hide different parts of ourselves. And I think at some point, and maybe for me, the drawing just brought back a little bit of my power of, this is who I am, and I love this part of me, and I feel free when I do this thing. And this voice had to sort of scream at me. And I think we get to that point when we're adults, because with enough life behind you, there is pain and heartache, and bad things happen, and we can't ignore that. But like, there's still a kid inside of us. And I very much believe that is a key to life, is letting that part of us out, and maybe letting that part of us lead a little bit more. I mean, we talk about kindness, and like, when we were kids, we made friends with everyone, right? We didn't care what they were doing or what they like. We just, hey, you like baseball? I like baseball. Let's go shoot. Like, let's go play baseball. And so I think returning to that innocence, if we can find it, is just such a powerful way to connect with others, bring more kindness in the world, and get back to who we actually are.
The fact that you,
and so,
I'm sorry, the fact that you listened to that is really cool, that you heard it and listened and followed it. That's really amazing. That's cool. What, you had a question, John?
So when you brought that up, what is it that we loved to do when we were kids that we don't do anymore? The first thing that came to my mind was, I loved collecting baseball cards and football cards and hockey cards.
Fun.
Let me tell you a quick story about the joy that I have with cards. So this past weekend, we were out with, there were 4 couples, and we went to a very lovely dinner at Baldemar in Roseville, which is, it was fantastic.
Yum.
Went back to this one couple's house, and I'm not going to say who it was because of the rest of the story. One of the guy who lived in the house, that owns the house, said, I got this little box of baseball cards down in my basement that, at some point I'd love to, to figure out what to do with them. And I said, go get them. So he comes upstairs and he has all of these cards. And it brought me back to when I was this little kid.
You guys on the floor just laying them out, counting them out?
So it was really funny. It was in an old Dayton's box.
Wow.
Like from the old Dayton's department stores. So I'm going through these cards, and I know cards.
Yeah. You know what you're looking at.
I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
This guy had I would say, almost mint condition Roberto Clemente rookie card. It was either, I think it was his dad had collected these cards back in 53.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
He had like a dozen Satchel Paige cards from that era, but the Roberto Clemente rookie card.
That's got to be worth something.
Let me tell you, it's worth at least six figures.
What?
This card is in pristine. So
let me see it. Do you have it on you?
I don't know, but I told him, I said, you got to get this in a safe because this is really extremely valuable. And it just, but to your point, I mean, the fact that, I mean, you know, I left there and I pulled up, I mean, if you look it up, like a mint Roberto Clemente card just went for like $1.4 million.
What?
I am not kidding you.
Wow.
I mean, you know,
but your inner child came out.
My
I love
child
that.
came out, and I have got so many baseball cards in here. And, you know, when my kids were young, I would buy full packs of those cards. And my son, Ben, you know, he loves going through them.
He's a collector.
He's totally a collector. He collects Legos. He collects all this stuff. But he went through and he was finding some of these cards that were rookie cards. For the point of this whole thing is, I think that I experienced a joy that it's indescribable. I forgot about.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that is such great advice. Think back to what it was. I'm sure that yours would be dancing and doing Elvis Presley impersonations.
No. Well, Elvis maybe, but no.
Jeff, you were a scout.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you found a lot of your joy in scouting.
Well, it was mostly camping and being outside and those kinds of things. And then teaching kids, but drumming was a big thing for me. Yeah.
Me too.
Well,
I love it.
We have consumed a lot of your time here, Heather, but Heather Boschke, you are a joy.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This is so great.
Absolute
Thank you
pleasure.
for having me. You guys are great. I really appreciate it.
Our listeners should go out and look up Birdie Buddies at all those stores and online and pick it up because you'll really enjoy it.
And take it away, Hefe.
All right.
Ethel, listen. The loons. They've come around to say goodbye.
On Golden Pond. Yes. Off we go. We always finish with off we go.
Thanks,
and
Heather.
I almost forgot. Thank you, Heather.
Oh, God. Thank you, guys.